Let's discuss Airbnb in Mexico. This is a receipt of a recent 2-night stay. This is what the gentleman paid to stay in our condo during the high season. You can see that we're supposed to get $360, that the guest in total paid $504. This is the payout that we got. Should be $360. Then you subtract the service fee and the VAT withheld and everything else, and we get $334. Now, the VAT that used to not be 16%, it was 8% because I have a Mexican SAT, which is like a tax ID number, and they changed it after the fact. I mean, Airbnb, the fact that the money was supposed to be paid out to my U.S. bank account because I no longer have access to my Mexican account for various reasons. And the bureaucracy in terms of dealing with it make it such that I have to go back to Mexico to re-access the account. But when I made the reservation, Airbnb was supposed to only pay out 8%, but they changed it after the fact to 16%. That is very vexing for me because it's not what I agreed to, and thus the payout is lower. Of this, I have to pay $70 to my friend who is the cleaner of the apartment. So I'm left with $264. Of that, I have to pay approximately $20 a day to the HOA that keeps everything clean and nice around the area. And then I have to, in addition to pay the internet and the electricity, which during the warmer times of the year can run fairly large. I'm left essentially with nothing left over, certainly nothing that will pay out for the initial investment that we made. And also, Airbnb is now going to be charging an extra 1%, so that 3% host service fee that you see there, no, that will no longer be the case. That will be 4%. That is more money that they're taking from us. And I have a big problem with the fact that Airbnb has decided that they are going to take not only more money, but not help me with the deal that they made with me of the extra 8%. If they were an up and coming company, they would say, you know what? We totally understand. We're going to take that 8% out of our revenues, which are still fairly large. They still charge a large percentage. And you remember that the total was paid by the client was $504. Let's just say that's the maximum that they're willing to pay, $252 a night. Of that, I'm left with $260. So you're basically almost doubling the amount. Okay, you have to pay the cleaning fee and stuff like that. I understand. So let's just say the $334. There's almost a 40% surcharge on top of what I'm getting to pay for all the Airbnb fees and Mexican taxes. Does that really work out? No, you are essentially working for Airbnb and Mexico for free, and now they're upping the rate that they are taking. Granted, it would be slightly less if I had access to my Mexican bank account and the money would go in there. But again, Airbnb has refused to meet what the expectation that I had when I made the reservation and the amount that I agreed to receive for the 2 nights. So I highly recommend that people rent out their properties in Mexico long term, because we actually have a fantastic location, but during the low season, we have basically zero revenue coming in or very close to it. And during the high season, it's not enough to make up for the fact that there's no money coming in and that there are excessive fees taken and that you are essentially working for Airbnb and the Mexican government, and you are just spending all that time communicating with clients, making sure that they're happy, all of the repairs that have to be made, all the HOA fees. You're basically working for nothing. It is not a worthwhile investment. So if you are going to consider buying a property in Mexico to rent out, I do not recommend that you use Airbnb to do it, simply because the fees are too much and the delta between what the client is willing to pay and what you actually receive is so vast. And then on top of that, by the way, I have to pay taxes to the US government on the revenue that I receive, which basically leaves me with nothing but a huge waste of time. So I'm taking my properties off of Airbnb. I'm really mad at the company because they aren't treating me like an individual. They aren't meeting their obligations according to the agreement that I made with them of the money that I was supposed to receive. And I no longer wish to deal with them. The only reason that I would ever deal with them again is because they're a quasi-monopoly and they have this tremendous network effect that is incredibly hard to overcome for any competition. The only other thing that you could use is VRBO, or you rent it out privately amongst friends. That's really the best avenue that you can go for, because Airbnb is ridiculously overpriced in terms of what they take, and then all of the Mexican fees and taxes, etc. Not even worth doing. So I'm taking my properties off the market, and I hope that this is a lesson to anybody out there who's considering doing this, so maybe you reconsider. God bless everybody out there. If I missed something, leave it in the comment section, thumb up the video. Peace.